In a previous life, I was working at one of the worst jobs I had. The saving grace, the thing that got me through it, was that we worked directly across the street from a Costco where the cafe was on the outside. So you didn't need like membership. You didn't need to do the like, oh, I'm just here for the cafe. I'm just here to get I just want my $1.50 Glizzy. Like, you just walk up and do it. And like, let me tell you, that $1.50 Glizzy, that got me through everything. It got me through everything. When my manager is being a weirdo, when I'm tired, when I'm mentally exhausted, I just knew that for at least 30 minutes, I could walk across the street. I could pull out my PSP. It was the style at the time. My lilac purple Hannah Montana PSP. I could play a little DJ Max, a little Smackdown 2006, and just chomp down on that Glizzy and slurp that Diet Coke. For those 30 minutes, life was good.
Club Sabergate, your weekly sesh for pro wrestling news, culture, and community. Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/KidSaberfang.
Let's talk about Shane O'Mac to AEW confirmed. I love this picture. I love this picture that came up. No, not double E. We want AEW. Different place. So if you haven't seen this picture, I'm sure everyone's seen this picture, but I'll hook you up here. I love everything about all this. Okay, so I am of two minds of this. I am like, I don't know if this is staged, if this was intentional. I don't know what to think about any of this. This is wild. I mean, yeah, he's looking very red. Shane is looking very red. No matter what's going on, this man is sweating. It's a problem. That's like high blood pressure or something. That's not great. But yeah, so much to take away from all this. So Tony Khan was caught having a secret meeting at an Arlington private airport, and there's really not much else beyond like to that story. Yeah, the whole thing is just kind of sus, but Shane did release a statement regarding the meeting. He said, Tony and I were connected through a mutual friend, and we had a great meeting. We talked about many things, but mostly about our shared love for the business and the rewards and challenges of working with family. I congratulated him on the 5-year anniversary of AEW and look forward to how he evolves the business moving forward. Okay. Yeah, so it's not thrilling me. It's not filling me with any kind of real big confidence here for AEW, but I've also been, I think we've been over my history with AEW where, yeah, started out very big fan, love that promotion, very much so. I probably would not be here right now if it were for AEW, because when AEW started, that was really when I was like, maybe I'll start making stuff about wrestling. Maybe wrestling could be fun. But, since a certain Pepsi man came and killed the vibes, it just hasn't really been the same here. But so here's my feelings on the matter. Let's set aside for a moment the fact that the McMahon name is like grade F toxic waste at this point, okay? Like we don't even need to get into that portion of the discussion, right? Like we can actually just set that to the side right now. We don't even need to get into the potential of a Shane McMahon in-ring return at AEW, because I actually doubt that's a possibility. Though Shane O'Mac versus like let's put Shane in there against like Katsuyori Shibata, right? Like that's some real sicko shit that I could be talked into, right? Like, okay. But I think that even Shane must be aware that he's not a performer anymore. Maybe that could be behind him, right? For everyone's sake. Shane versus Darby could be fun. I could see that. I could see the potential of that. But just like let's take that out. Like let's even take that out. My question really is, does he actually bring anything to the table that couldn't be done better by someone else? Like the man who was infamously fired by his own deranged father for supposedly trying to rig the entire Royal Rumble for himself. I don't think someone like that should really be involved near like creative or booking or like anything really involving talent relations in a sense, booking things. That's probably no go for me. His much touted career as a businessman outside of WWE is not filled with success. Like it's one company that he's rebranded about 5 times since 2021 alone. I looked into this. So if we're talking about him coming in for like operations, marketing, promotions, event planning, like, I don't know, literally anything else it takes to help support a growing wrestling company, there's not anyone else who couldn't do what you'd need someone like him to do, but better and with no baggage. I don't know. I just don't think you're looking hard enough. I don't think that you're really scouting for talent on that LinkedIn so much there, you know? Maybe try and go outside that bubble just a little bit. Maybe not repeat one of the same mistakes that we see so many wrestling companies make over the years, which is giving old heads cushy jobs that they're not actually trained or even qualified for because legend. Like, am I talking crazy? Is this crazy talk? To maybe not have nepotism be the primary motivating factor behind hiring somebody? Am I crazy here? I just don't see the benefits of really bringing in Shane in, other than for the shock value. I think AEW has already got enough kind of problems to dealing with. And I think this is also a potential to learn from the mistakes they made with the Ric Flair endorsement, which they've already, that ended prematurely. But, maybe learn from the Ric Flair endorsements and like move on from the problematic past. Yeah, that's where I'm at with the whole Shane thing. I can see some of the benefits. Like Shane versus Orange Cassidy, Forbidden Door next year. hey, maybe that's how you use it. You put him in a Forbidden Door card. But otherwise, I'm just like, if there's a role you're hiring for in operations, in the C-suite, in anything, I'm sure you could find someone better and less problematic. Get on that Indeed, get on that Monster, that LinkedIn, all those job sites. You can look a little harder, bruh. Moving on, the other big story that's been going on this week, Hang 'em High versus the wrestler formerly known as Val Venis, Sean Morley. If you are unfamiliar with this entire situation, maybe it's a chronically online thing. I don't know, but let's talk. If you were unaware, where to begin? Sean Morley. He's a WWE never been that lucked into being born at the right time to exist within the biggest boom period that pro wrestling has ever witnessed, and ultimately managed to do fuck all with it, to the point where the only thing people know him for is being the man in the I Choppy the PP segment. Yeah, he's the guy in the I Choppy the PP segment. However, since he cannot get booked these days beyond his local shindy, he's resorted to what all aging bald white men do when faced with being a weird, smelly loser. A hard swerve into the alt-right grip. And so for the past few years now, Sean Morley has made it a point to be just one of the most despicable people on Twitter, which is really one of the most competitive nightmare Olympics imaginable, right? Like, if you want to try and get into some sort of competitive sport, being the worst person on Twitter, whew, bless his heart, man. He tries. Just a constant flood of racism, homophobia, all the phobias, you name it. But his favorite fixation is with trans people. And unfortunately for him, he finally talked some of this nonsense to somebody who decided to swing back. And it just so happened to be V, better known as Hang 'em High on Twitter. If you don't know it, they are strongly suspected. Listen. Allegedly, this is me sprinkling the allegedlys. Allegedly, they are Triple H's burner account. Allegedly. I'm not saying, I'm just telling you what I've heard. All right. I'm just telling you what I've heard. But I've seen the evidence. I've seen the evidence, and I know it's you, Triple H, the game, Cerebral Assassin. Yeah, man, I know it's you. But anyways, that means he has incredibly deep pockets. And so they decided to take things into their own hands and take from them the only thing that this sad corncob of a man has left. His name, which he never owned to begin with because it was a WWE creation and it was WWE's property. Until it wasn't, because it turns out that WWE didn't even see any value in renewing it, and it was an abandoned trademark, it's abandoned copyright. And as of press time, from what I understand, papers have been signed, lawyers have been paid, and V is soon to be the owner of the intellectual copyright to the name Val Venis. And that's great in and of itself. If that was if that was it, if that was the all there was to the story, like hooray! Like we'd all like celebrate, we'd all be like, okay, cool. Now let's go watch some wrestling. Like, no, there's more. There's more. But you know, it's really about sending a message because now the name Val Venis no longer stands for mediocrity, but for the valued allies of the LGBTQ plus vital education and non-judgmental informational services group, or Val Venis for short. There is a temporary website set up at valvenis.com, and I have some screenshots of it here, and along with very valuable LGBTQ information and education. Here's the message on their website. My name is V. The name Val Venis once didn't stand for anything good. I'm here to change that. Amen, brother. Amen, brother. And they have a shop set up where you can buy Val Venis stickers. And look at these prices. $250 for some Kiss Cut stickers, and they look good. That's cute. I would put that on my laptop. I'm gonna be getting some soon. I'm gonna put these on my laptop. Got a bunch of great selections up here. A bunch of great designs. I hear they're adding more. I hear they're adding more all the time. So this is a whole thing. It did remind me of something here. So tonight, after our new segment here, tonight we're gonna watch my latest video, which is all about getting to know more about myself, learning facts about me and my design, right? And one thing I didn't get to explain about myself in that video was my intro, right? So every time you see me, every time I start a stream or introduce a new video, I always say, I'm the pro wrestling VTuber dedicated to love and justice, Sabrefang, right? I realized that I never really explained what I meant by that. The inspiration kind of comes from two places, and the first is Sailor Moon, the pretty guardian who fights for love and justice. I don't know if it was obvious or not, but I consider myself to be pretty Sailor Moon coded. The crescent symbol on my mask, yeah, that's 100% just a shout out to Sailor Moon. The eFed that I've been planning, Crescent Pro, everything I do is like secretly Sailor Moon coded. So that's one thing. But the actual desire to have one to begin with, that came from Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling, and that came from Hyper Misao. As a masked wrestler who idolizes other masked wrestlers, I love Hyper Misao, who is, of course, the masked superhero who protects love and peace in Tokyo Joshi Pro. So you put these two influences together and you have my introduction, right? But I think it's an important distinction that I say that I'm dedicated to love and justice as opposed to love and peace. I don't make any qualms about my identity or who I represent. I am a queer pansexual wolf boy, okay? That's just what it is. And I don't have any patience for bigotry of any kind, whether it's based on sex, orientation, race, heritage, whatever. I feel it has no place in modern society, and especially not in pro wrestling. which is some of the gayest shit the human race has ever conceived. Okay? Be real with yourself. Be truthful, okay? And I've always made this clear with y'all and you know, everyone in the Saber gang, it's important that we love each other for our differences and our unique qualities and not just give in to blind hatred. You know, it's no way to live your life, and I can guarantee you that you will live a happier life if you can just accept people of all kinds. So it certainly does bother me knowing, you know, how many people who exist within the wrestling sphere do not feel the same, right? I think of, you know, Rick Steiner's transphobic outburst at a convention a while back. Of course, we just talked about Sean Morley, and I'm sure if I went to his Twitter account right now and refresh, he'd have a new awful thing to say about somebody. But that's also a bit of why I'm here to begin with, because in being a pro wrestling fan, in being immersed in its culture and its various scenes, I very rarely have felt as though I feel represented, right? That I feel comfortable, that I'm not, it's so rare that I don't feel like suspicious of you know, some creators when it comes to these types of topics, and wrestlers as well. It's not just about other content creators, of course. Here, yeah, there we go, got it. There, I got you. And it of course makes me so thankful that of course there are people like V, like Hang 'em High, who are willing to go after some of the worst elements in the scene and to do good with their following. I love, of course, seeing the efforts of Effie and the big gay brunches and everything that spins out of that. And yeah, I just think that, you know, the more vocal we are about this, the more visible that we are about this, the more we fight for it, the more something's got to change, right? The more, you know, the more we can try and find acceptance, right? There's probably some great X-Men quotes. There's probably some great Charles Xavier stuff I could be spitting right now, but I think y'all see where I'm getting at. And so yeah, this whole story is like very silly in a way, but I think it does, you know, it exposes a number of things. It exposes that there are people out there who are willing to fight for these issues, and that we're not the minority in having these feelings, and for wanting the whole spectrum of humanity to be accepted and to be represented, you know.